really tie things together?
I don't know. I think if you don't have at least 10 or 12 points of view, you're just doing it wrong.
Look, man, you have your view on porn. I have my view.
Look, these days you can do that multi-screen split screen and you can like add 5 or 6 channels at the same time. I mean, you don't want to have sound for all of them going on at once, obviously, because then it gets really confusing. But if you want to have the whole deal so you can switch one into slow-mo and move it around and things like that, I'm pretty sure you could do that. They do it with sports, so why wouldn't you be able to do it with porn?
So basically, then when you go ahead and you have the moment in the porn movie, you could have the sports thing go ba da 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 ba da 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 da.
ABC's Worldwide. What was it? Worldwide Sports? Is that what it was?
Wide world.
Wide World of Sports. Wide World of Porn. There we go. I totally blew that.
What was that announcer's name? Howard something.
Cosell.
Howard Cosell. You could have Howard Cosell.
Howard Cosell.
Go ahead and do your narration for your porn movie.
Oh my god.
No, I'm sorry. What you need is John Madden with the board and drawing X's and O's and well now you see this move here he's gonna move.
Oh
and
no.
come up in between and
Nobody saw that one coming. Look how he got right through there. And let's bring in our consultants to talk about how that worked.
Just sit away and squeeze through that slot.
New York on that one.
I'm trying to figure out what the penalties would be.
Oh, there's a flag on the play.
Jesus Christ. With that, maybe...
They're down in the end zone. Is that a safety or a touchdown? Well, Fred, it depends on your perspective.
Somebody's got a red card.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dead Robot Society. I am Paul E. Cooley, and joining me, as always, God help us all, is Veronica and Terry Mixon. Well, Veronica Jagger and Terry Mixon. Man, I'm just screwing everything up.
Now you're trying to marry us off? We're all both married, man, and not to each other.
Why would she marry an old fossil like you?
Obviously, I have my good points.
I've known you how long, and I've yet to discover these.
I'm going to just sit here and sip my coffee, thanks.
You know, there was actually an interesting discussion going on before it suddenly switched over to porn, but
which was your fault. That was
my fault.
That was all you.
My fault? I did that? I don't believe it.
Feedback. Yes.
I don't believe it.
Well, I'm the one that
used
used the porn word, but you're the one that... No, wait a minute. Did you bring the porn word? I don't remember. Maybe it was you.
She did.
What?
She did it. She did it.
I am an image of sweetness, innocence, and light. It could never be me.
Horse shit. You said you were not going to be part of the solution. You are definitely part of the problem. Therefore, it's you. You did this.
So you're blaming Mistress Veronica for this.
Man,
you're not going to hear any of this conversation if you're not a $30 member on the Patreon.
We just keep upping that. At some point, someone's got to pull the trigger.
God, why do I feel like I'm stepping on landmines? I'm in a minefield here. This is so bad. There are so many places I could have taken the last several comments and wanted to go and just chase that down. But getting canceled and things like that, probably not a good place to be. So maybe we should get out of this place before it gets any worse. Brett says Mistress Veronica is the source of all problems and porn. Just deal. With that, I'll just go ahead and ask Mistress Veronica, how are you and what have you been up to?
I don't know. I'll take things that I did not think I would hear on a Saturday for 500, Alex. But I'm good. I'm good. I managed to finish my outline I finished the 4th iteration of my outline for my space opera, space western. So once I get that all typed up, because I hand wrote everything because I am that person. I did. I hand wrote it all. It's all pretty. But then, this week between recording, I will be typing that up into Scrivener, and then I can start. I think I've got a good roadmap to where I can actually get writing with it.
Talking about
Other than that, I've been living in a bowling alley, so
talking about handwriting, I was speaking to one of my therapists, the one that helps me with my shoulder stretching, and he was complaining about his own handwriting and being able to read his notes, and I was like, bruh, let's talk about bad handwriting. And I demonstrated my handwriting. It was like, how can you even read that?
I can't.
muscle memory. It's all muscle memory.
Well, now that we know that she smells like bowling shoes, what have you not been up to, Terry?
Excuse you.
I'm just on a roll today.
Sorry, that's convenience store coffee and desperation. Thank you very much.
And stale nachos.
Convenience store cup. You might as well drink lighter fluid. The hell's wrong with you?
Don't forget the stale nachos. Those are very important.
Terry, save us. What have you been up to, man?
Well, you know, I just had to go ahead and I'm wrapping up this novel, and I had a last-minute plot complication, shall we say, because I looked at what the due date was, and it had somehow changed from the book being due 2 weeks from now to being due a week from now. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can't make that. So I had to have a conversation with the publisher. Oh, and the publisher was like, how did that change? It's not changed. The due date's the same.
We were talking about this in the pre-show, and it sounded like it was going to be a very awkward moment if suddenly they were like, well, we screwed something up on the publication date. Therefore, we need your book next week.
That would have been awkward. I'm very flexible when it comes to due dates, as long as the due date isn't moved to a week from now.
Otherwise, you're just going to like employ the cats to write bits and pieces of it.
Apparently, we need a shrink for this show, and Brett doesn't understand why BetterHelp doesn't sponsor this joint. Because we're against data collection.
Education do not extend to that. But funny enough, when you get your education specialist degree and focus on psychology, you wind up taking all of the same classes for like theory building as the clinical psychology majors. Yeah.
Interesting.
Great for writing.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, my wife and I discovered The Three Musketeers on Amazon Prime. It's been out I think about 10 years, but I was only vaguely aware of it. And I was watching the first 3 episodes. I was like, I believe I found my duelist mental image. So now I have got Athos in my mind as the duelist.
He put this stuff in our Discord private group. And now I think he's got a serious problem with lace. I think he's got some kind of.
I'm pretty sure I didn't see any lace on that. I will go put it in the live
You're
channel.
thinking of the wrong iteration of the Three Musketeers. There's no lace in that one. Lots of leather though.
Oh yeah, there is lots of leather. Okay, you're right. You're right. There's no lace in these. I was thinking the undershirts had the lace, but they do not.
I'm dropping it into the live channel so that if folks want to see what I've got in mind, there you go. It is now in the live channel.
I think basically Terry's just into leather. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, who wouldn't be? Basically, assless chaps is all I need to have in this show, right? Wow, that pretty well killed the conversation dead.
My mind went to a very terrifying place. Do you have anything else of import to discuss?
Well, other than the fact you propositioned me to show up in lingerie, I'm not sure what else I can say.
That is not what I said at all. That is absolutely not what I said. But you go ahead. You go
said
ahead.
we could have the show as a show topic to talk about my horrifying lingerie collection.
That doesn't mean I wanted to see it.
Yeah, it just means you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, asked for topics. That was a mistake. Hi, Antoine. It's the bleach. There's nothing wrong with leather and lace. It was just basically I'm trying to give Terry shit and it backfired spectacularly. Well, I'm glad that you have been able to find your visual muse for your characters.
It's very important sometimes when you've got a vague idea of what the character is supposed to be doing, having an idea of what the character might look like as an actor can sometimes help you, even if it's not going to end up being what the character looks like, it can help you formulate what the character is going to be like.
I think that's probably one of the easiest things to do is basically go look at somebody who's acts in that genre, just kind of look at how they move or whatever else. Helps give you some idea for the kind of character you're trying to build. Yeah, it makes a good point. But I would shoot higher than the Musketeers, for crying out loud. What is wrong with you? Go for the Naked Gun. Why aren't all your characters like they just walked out of the Naked Gun?
Obviously, I need to go have Leslie Nielsen as my primary character in this.
I can't believe you have not written that book, to be honest. I mean, airplane space opera with Leslie Nielsen as the commander. What could possibly go wrong?
Apparently, everything could go wrong, but I can't do humor that way. I'm not that funny.
Intentionally.
Intentionally. Well, I spent most of the week going through the all the edits for An Ancient Trap and incorporating them and saying no, saying yes, and saying, oh my God, that sentence sucks. I should just rewrite it. Throw away the editor's notes and go, yeah, you didn't understand what I was trying to say. And catching a few things that they should have caught that they didn't. But because they had stuff near it, I caught things that I knew were wrong that they wouldn't know were wrong. So that was interesting. So I'm getting ready to re-record it now, which is going to suck. And that'll take quite a long time to do, but I got to start getting that done so that when the trade paperback and cover and all that stuff is ready for layout, the audiobook won't be too far behind it. And in addition to that, for those of you who want to buy audiobooks and whatnot, there'll be a sale on Kobo between October 24th and October 31st for the Black audiobook. I think it's for $7.99. So you can get it from Kobo for pretty damn cheap. And I'll also have the ebook on sale during that time for 99 cents because it's Halloween, goddammit, and I haven't put something on sale for a long time. Other than that, I still have not finished up Extinction. I still have not gotten back to work on some other things. I've been dealing with some crap. So finally starting to get through it. So next week is another week to go crazy. No,
Stay
get
crazy?
more sane. Yeah, go crazy. Say things. Write more stuff. I want write more stuff. That's what me want. Oh, one more thing before we get going. Saw The Menu, the movie The Menu. I think it's on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely fucking badass flick. Just gonna say. It is excellent. It is definitely an experience. So I highly recommend it. But apart from that, I don't really have much else to say except, why is this title Plotications? What is this?
Because I brought up the story topic of perhaps talking about plot complications, and Veronica said, but what about the complications you shouldn't use? And I was like, okay, that's an interesting twist. To complicate or not to complicate?
That is the question.
Do you know what?
So that soliloquy. Sorry.
Do you know what the gears are called when you're making a watch? A timepiece? They're called complications.
I did not know that.
Every gear you add is called a complication. This actually makes a very, very good analogy to plot, which is every time you add one of those gears, it has to interface with other gears. And so it complicates the structure and design of how the clock works, I assume is where that comes from. But that also means you can strip gears if you're not really careful, or you may have a gear out of place that's basically rubbing against nothing. In which case it's not doing what its job is, and we call those plot holes. So, if you already have a very complicated plot and you have a lot of gears spinning against one another and everything else, chances are you don't need to add another one, right, Terry?
Oh, I disagree.
Well, what are you talking about?
You always need to add in more. The reason that plot complications are good is because it takes a smooth flow of what's happening that's moving toward a specific outcome that the reader can envision, and then derails it into something else to where they are in unknown territory and now have to see how things get danced around.
Okay. Do you have an example?
Well, let's see. In the book that I'm currently writing, I am having foreign dignitaries that have a fleet of their own interfacing with the player characters, or the main characters. And I'm like, things are going too smoothly here. The place these other people come from, maybe I can go ahead and have there be a faction inside them that is going to stage a betrayal that's going to upset the whole apple cart. Because I was like, I need some complications because this book is ending a little too smoothly. I need to have something blow up. So that's what I came up with.
What can't be accomplished through words, searches for great meanings, can definitely be fixed with high explosives. That's basically the lesson you're trying to teach us.
Yes. If I had to pick a different one, there's a story about William Shatner when he did live television. He was doing a murder mystery, and he was supposed to take a bag off of the mantle and pull out a gun and shoot someone. And he pulled the bag off the mantle, and inside was a sandwich. That was a plot complication. Because he's on live television, there is no second take. So he promptly puts the bag down and goes and strangles the person.
It works. A simple one would be I have to go fix a satellite. Halfway there, something goes wrong with my suit. Right? Yeah. So I have to deal with the suit. Plus, I got to deal with the satellite when I get there. Obviously, if I don't take care of the suit, I'm not going to get to the satellite, but that's an unforeseen plot complication. Simple stuff like that will break up the flow, make things interesting, and hopefully snap the reader out of whatever fugue you may have put them in with the previous chapter that didn't have any action in it. And sometimes you just have to do it. There's a lot of information you got to convey. There's a lot of things that need to happen. And as much as I hate the goddamn saying, and I can still hear the guy saying it over and over again at 4 different writers' cons I went to, he said, well, whenever you're not sure what to do, just throw a tomato. Just throw a tomato. Somebody throws a tomato, things happen. It's like, fuck's sake.
I see that as an actual good thing.
I hated to hear it 4 fucking versions of the same fucking story over and over again. I guess is my beef with it. However, the sentiment I think is actually perfect. You throw that stuff in there. What happens if you're walking around? Okay, you're an engineer and you're supposed to go here. There are monsters wandering around. Well, guess what? Something actually breaks that you got to fix. While you're trying to survive. Things like that. JR says plot complication when Terry gives you advice.
It's totally true because then you start cursing me and then things happen and things get changed.
William West, plot complication. I have to go on a spacewalk to repair the satellite. Halfway there, I get a text from my wife telling me she's filing for divorce.
Well, okay, or you have this plot complication. So you're having a totally, relatively normal conversation for this podcast, and suddenly a very large spotted cat decides that you are now the best furniture ever, and you must carry on.
Oh, no. There's love, and then there's smother, and that's that cat. Love and smother. That is the way they attack. Period. End of story.
But when you talk about plot complications, you have to have them.
Yes.
You have to have something that keeps upping the stakes, because if you stay at that, one mid-level, and then you only kind of, jump up for the action and then come down, your reader's going to get bored. You have to keep, stair-stepping up, and the plot complications let you stair-step up the reader's investment and emotion. And what are you doing to that poor creature?
Okay, listeners, the cat is wearing headphones and probably going to start speaking into the mic soon. Brett says if this cat starts talking, I'm out of here.
Well, okay, so for the plot complication that was proposed, halfway there, get a text from the wife saying that she's filing for divorce. So it may not be an immediate plot complication. Sometimes, especially if you're writing a series, you're going to throw in little things that might be minor inconveniences at that time that cause bigger problems later that you have to solve. So it could be I can't do anything about it now, but I'm just distracted. But once I get back, I don't have a place on planet to go back to, because in the space of time that it took for me to get that message and get back to planet, it's been sold and people have disappeared.
I think a good plot complication with there, not only you get the text that she's getting a divorce, that she's decided to go ahead and take up a relationship with one of your coworkers. Oh, and by the way, it's the guy that did the maintenance on the suit you're in right now. Hope that oxygen bottle's full.
Mm-hmm.
This just keeps getting better and better. My God, what the hell was that? The cat just went thud. Chris says, if you're on a spacewalk, why would you be checking your text messages? Nobody said nothing about checking. They just show up on your HUD. What are you going to do? Come on. You forgot to put private on while you're talking to command. And his life insurance is paid up. Yeah. Well, those complications like that, though, could also distract the main character from doing what they're supposed to be doing in the sense that they fuck it up. A normal, routine task that they've done 1 billion times turns out to cause another problem because they screwed it up. And so you needed a way to have them screw this up to kick off something else. Or that's just another jumping off point. This poor bastard is going out to fix his satellite. Things are just getting worse for him every step of the way. What happens when suddenly he figures out that because of this new complication, he's now got to find oxygen? Where's he going to get it? Can they get it to him?
Say again, Bob. You're breaking up. You're short on what? Oh, you're not coming in clear.
Yeah, I don't think you're coming in clear no more. Hey, it looks like your O2's a little low. How'd that happen?
Just close your eyes and take deep breaths. It'll all be over soon.
Oh, that's cold. That's something I definitely do not want to hear over the radio while I'm in a spacesuit, untethered from everything. That's cold. That's mean. You're mean. How could you be so heartless?
Duh.
Reality is strange. Maintenance makes things wonky. Complication in its own right. Yeah. Ask any software engineer. I put in AAT about the fact that they quadruple check their equipment constantly and still find stuff busted and have to replace or reprint or whatever they have to do with it. That would just be a normal mainstay, man. I don't know about you, but I don't want to print it once and call it good. I'm going to run diagnostics every time if I'm going to, if my life is going to depend on it. That would be a problem otherwise.
My wife was watching a show. Why she wants to go ahead and watch this big sequence of air disasters before we fly out to Vegas, I can't tell you. But nevertheless, that's what she's in the process of doing. And right before I came up for the show, I walked in and she was watching one, and the pilot is bringing the aircraft back to land in England because they've had an incident in flight at 33,000 feet. Basically, they get up to their cruising altitude, and the side window next to the pilot, right after he stands up and takes off his belt so that he can go do something, the window blows out and sucks him halfway out of the airplane because maintenance
which half
didn't appropriately seal it. His front half. He died, unfortunately.
It just got his legs sticking through there?
He's got his legs in the air in the cockpit, and a what is it? The flight attendant, a male flight attendant, is holding on to his legs to keep him from going the rest of the way out, and he's dead. It's obvious that he's dead. And so there's your plot complication as the co-pilot attempts to bring this aircraft full of people back to a landing, only by himself, trying to run both sides of the aircraft, and you've got the thing open and then wind blowing around and dead pilot and chaos everywhere. There's your plot complication.
Gotta love the 70s. I assume that's when that was made. What year was this movie made, Terry?
Rick, that window was significantly larger than the captain. It did not keep the air sealed in. They had to rapidly drop down below 10,000 feet so that they could breathe.
What year was this set?
Just based on the images on the screen, I would say it was probably 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, brilliant.
Lovely. Brett says he has a reel of plane crashes from movies he plays on his computer or tablet before takeoff, so nobody talks to him.
Do you do that while sitting in the emergency row? I'm just asking.
The door nearest to the hatch, right?
Turn to your co-seat, your person in your co-seat. Do you know which part of the aircraft is the most survivable during a crash?
It ain't this one.
Start reeling off facts and figures.
I get the feeling this is going to end you. This is going to put you on the TSA no-fly list if you go through that shit. I'm just saying. I'm thinking that might be a thing.
So, what kind of plot complications don't you want to introduce? Why would you not want to further complicate your plot?
Because it's already got 15 complications on this one goddamn plot. And then there's 3-4 subplots that also have plot complications. At some point, you got to stitch the story back together so you can actually find an end.
So you've got your main character dealing with all of these things going wrong, and then something else goes wrong, and he's just going, really?
Yeah,
really?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Or they just curl up into a fetal ball and say, fuck it. You know, at some point, the character's going to be like Job and just go, God, what the fuck? It's just, you're done. I'm done. I've had enough. I'm done with this bullshit. I'm out. I'm going home. So I think at some point you have to worry about if you go on all these subquests, you have to come back to the main quest at some point. And the character also has, and the reader also have to have space to breathe. Things just can't be a constant crazed fuckery all the way down. You got to find the moments to breathe.
So you can't have the movie Gravity as your novel.
You could do it.
That movie did not breathe at all. It was nothing but calamity to calamity, calamity,
Yep.
calamity, 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 calamity.
Which, if you think about it, is more the way it would happen anyway when you're talking something that catastrophic. But I understand. It makes it difficult to see it as a narrative. Because it does become more of a crisis to crisis to crisis to crisis, which wears everybody out. Still, space is hard. Oh, this is mean. Plot complications are just ways to extend your story or create a 15-book series. I believe that was aimed in your direction. Yeah.
Some complications can't be resolved immediately.
Yeah, it's true. A plot complication would be like, say you're going to a writing conference in Vegas, and you're setting up your booth and you're demonstrating your audio stuff, and then your podcast co-host shows up in a red dress, and he's got hairy legs, and it doesn't look that great, and everybody's looking at him. That's a plot complication.
Is it though?
I don't think anybody would be shocked by this who knows us.
I think that it might be a plot complication.
We might get asked to leave. That might be the plot complication.
I could just see it. Craig security walks up. Mr. Mixon, we'd like to have a word with you. See Craig back there going, you, come here.
Yeah, come here.
He'd be back there. All I'd see was him just shaking his head.
This sounds to me like people are afraid of hairy men, is what you're telling me. Or is it only when they're wearing tights?
Of course, if Craig went ahead and said, "Come here, we gotta talk," I was like, "Are you assuming my gender?"
I think the proper thing was, this wouldn't be a problem if I was in a dinosaur outfit. What do you have against red dresses?
Brett says, I think the
Exactly.
plot complication is you are both wearing the same dress.
That's in my mind. That's exactly what I was
True.
thinking.
True.
Yeah, I come down and I go, God damn it, Terry! You're supposed to be in purple!
We coordinated this.
Brett says, have you seen hairy legs and tights? No, I haven't seen that movie.
It's well,
Yeah, uh-huh. You're going to go where with that? Uh-huh.
I was going to say that for those who often have to do that, that's why you may wear 2 or 3 different pairs of tights to both for support in various places and to cover up things.
Wow. William West says, are there complications that pull you out of a story?
That's where we were kind of going before we got sidetracked.
Oh yeah,
We got sidetracked?
We did.
I think that's when complications that pull you out of a story or a film or a TV show or whatever, that's jumping the shark. It's you've gone too far, and people can't plausibly believe that is part of the action going forward.
Yeah, for no reason a Wookiee steps off the satellite. That's going to be a problem if we have not had Wookiee before. So, yeah, can't really do that exactly. That's another part of it, is figuring out, and it's going to depend on what story you're telling. If you look at Douglas Adams, one of the reasons why those books are so insane is because the plot complications just stack and keep stacking. And when it finally gets unwound, it gets unwound so fast that it just blows your mind how quickly it all falls apart. And it's just, he really had a knack for that. And you can do that in certain instances and situations if you're constantly flipping back and forth between characters. Because while you have one going through zany times, you can have another one going through something a little bit more normal, which is another way to break up that action. Even if one of the characters is constantly going through, I don't know, an hour or 2 of reading worth of action, if there are 4 or 5 other characters whose scenes don't have that, breaking it up, it will work.
So here's
it's
what I
done
have
right.
in mind when you're saying this. You're writing a book with multiple points of view going through there, and everybody else's, story is nice and calm and copacetic. One single character, every single scene they have going through this movie is nothing but chaos, mayhem, and nonstop action.
Sure. Why not?
You've met
Planes,
these people
trains,
in
and
your life.
automobiles, my friend.
Oh, God, yeah, that's actually a good one. That's a good one. Planes, trains, and automobiles. It basically, if you look at those stories of the large space operas and things like that, let's look at BSG. You got the folks who are on the ship, and you got the folks who are in the trenches, either on the planet doing shit, getting shot at, or you got the ones who are in the fighter pilots who are doing their bullshit, right? A lot of stuff can be going on that has nothing to do with one thing to another, but because all the characters are part of the crew, part of the ship, you have all the space you could possibly need to tamp down or ramp up the action as you need to keep the readers from, feeling like they're in the Memorex commercial. Was it Memorex? They had the dude sitting in the chair with the wind blowing.
I don't remember that one. I
know
do hear
Brett
your mower,
does.
though.
It's not my mower.
It's not here.
No, I'm not mowing the grass. It's not my mower. It's somebody else mowing. Brett says he's lost the thread of this plot, picturing dresses. So I think we have failed.
Or we've succeeded.
Is it live or is it Memorex? Thank you, Rick. It was Maxell. Was it Maxell? Oh shit! I'm gonna have to. All right, I'll let you all have the trivia warfare going on there. We're gonna move on.
it was Memorex. That. Oh no, okay. Yes, it was a Maxell tape ad. Sorry, in the 1980s.
My formative years. Explains a lot, actually. What other complications do you not want to put in?
Anything that's out of character.
What would be an example of that?
You've got a very pacifistic character, but something happens that convinces them that they need to murder somebody.
Okay. But they could just go along with it and then bail out at the last second, but you would know their intentions before that happened. So what you're saying is that they just blindly said, okay, let's go do this, and then went out there and murdered somebody.
Well, maybe I phrased that poorly. Like
Okay.
in one of the Empire of Bones books, I floated an idea of having someone sexually assaulted, a male sexually assaulted. And Veronica said, I don't think that would fit with this. So I didn't use it. It would have been out of character for the rest of the series. The tone would
Okay,
have
for the
been
rest of the
different.
series, there we go. That's kind of what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Some things don't belong in this series. Some things don't belong in this book. And there are many times where I've written a scene and gone, that's not this book. That's for another book that I haven't written yet. I'll grab that and put it over here somewhere. But I've got a lot of scenes like that I end up cutting. And sometimes just going down a blind alley and I realize it needs to be excised. And you just got to get comfortable enough doing that. But the one boon of overcomplicating is if you do it right with enough practice, it gets really easy to remove some of the complications that are causing problems with the rest of the story. If you get good and comfortable at it. If not, it's going to be like unwinding spaghetti code. Going to be a problem. Going to suck. So, complicate appropriately. Maybe the rule of thumb is not to add as many complications to come back in your second pass and add more. Do you do that, Terry?
I mean, I can get behind that. I do.
You can get
That's what I've
behind?
been,
Interesting.
because I go through and I'm like, okay, so is the scene that I've put together, is my protagonist or is my point of view character being active? If not, can I throw something in there that's going to make them act? And I mean, I threw in a complication that was like, does this person's sibling need to be going along with the estranged parents' behavior, or could they be scared of them and kind of being, threatened into that? And the complication, it makes more sense for them to be threatened into it. And then, well, they don't want to do these things that are being asked of them. They don't want to shoot their brother. They would rather just kind of run off, but they can't leave the dad's corporation because they don't want to be hunted. And so by having that complication, by looking at that behavior and saying, I'm supposed to shoot him, but I can't because I can't pull the trigger, that actually gives me a whole subplot for the next book of, well, we know this person is in distress. How do we rescue them? How do we help them out?
Or how much am I going to suffer for not having killed that guy when I had the chance?
Yes, which is a lot. But
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
it's supposed to be.
be.
So, but when you can, well, I mean, Brett says, if you add complications, don't you have to rewrite everything after? I'm in outline mode. So yes, I've got to redo a couple things, but that's why I'm a prolific outliner, so that I have everything set. And generally, once it's in the outline and those complications are there, if to me it's satisfactory and makes sense, then I don't change anything after that.
Depending on how you write, if I'm writing about this astronaut going out there to fix this satellite, maybe I skipped over the entire portion of him getting to the satellite. Maybe I just started with him on the satellite. I have written books, and you know this, from Tattoo and Closet Treats, where I started in the middle and ended up going back to write both ends pretty much simultaneously. And it has happened a couple times since then, but on a much smaller scale. But it does happen where I come along and I go, you know what? I actually need to talk about what happened here because this is too clean. There's no way they would have gotten from A to C without having to go through B. And there's no way there was nothing at B. So now I need to write about B. It doesn't have to be a big deal, a big scene, but I need to find a way to, maybe there's more information I can convey about C before they get there. And I can use that trek to get that done, even though nothing dramatic happens. You can add those pieces, especially important when you're trying to get across that information, and you have to have characters interacting in order to discover or relay that information to the reader. And part of the trick of writing, suspense and thrillers, I guess even action adventure, is finding those beats and finding those places where you can, place that information and make it happen in such a way that it doesn't look like you were trying to do it. It just happens organically between the characters. So those kinds of complications can be extremely helpful, and you don't necessarily have to rewrite the book to add them in there. If you go too big, obviously, then yeah. But I would say if you did that, you probably added to the main complication another main complication, which you really can't kind of do. It's just like in these series that Terry writes, he's got arcs. I've got arcs in mine, but there's still an overarching thing that is going on. All the sub-arcs and all the subplots and all the books are their own sets of complications. They're just another gear in the main story, which is the clock, if we're going to keep you that analogy.
One of the big differences between the way Veronica and I write, she's a prolific outliner, so she has an opportunity to plot out exactly where she's going to put these plot complications. Me, I'm a one-pass writer, so my plot complications are usually in media res. I'll be writing along going, ooh, I could do this horrible thing right here. And then there's a train wreck instantly because I do it right there on the spot and then have to recover the characters from that. So I don't usually think of the plot complications more than, while I'm writing a scene, I'm like, oh, that would be wicked. And I do it. And that's it. So I'm kind of a spur of the moment kind of person when it comes to introducing these plot complications. I usually don't think of them in advance. They usually happen organically as I write.
I mean, often mine will come up as I'm putting the outline to, ooh, this could be cool if I did this. And truly, the main reason I do it is because I don't have the extended amount of time. If I have a block of like 45 minutes to write during the day, I need to be able to jump in, get started, and get out. And so having that outline, it's scheduling. It's honestly, it's deferring that executive function piece so that I can get in, know where I have to start, and keep moving. That's it.
Just wait 10 years down the road when you don't have kids all around the house. You'll be like, what am I going to do with myself? Oh!
I rolled my eyes because of the weed whacker outside. Sorry about that. Was rolling my eyes at you.
Yeah. It'll be 4.
4?
4 years. Youngest
Wow.
is a freshman in high school, so 4 years.
And then in 4 years, you'll have at least one of them back, maybe 2.
I don't know. The oldest has been told that his incentive to making sure that he has a full-time job once he gets out in a place of his own is then once he's established, I'm going to go with him to go and adopt a pair of cats. So that's his incentive, and he's like, one must be orange. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna find the mushiest orange cat.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Show me the cat with the least access to a brain cell. All right, here we go. We got this orange one. All right, that's perfect. Shove him in there.
Personality-wise, it will match him perfectly. I just know better that they must be gotten in pairs because
They do.
Duh, they must be in pairs.
So if you could find a pair of oranges, that would work out pretty well.
Oh my god.
Oh god, I'm not sure if we could deal with that level of cluelessness. I think I'm
Dude. Dude, that's like a black hole of stupid. It's just gonna suck everything in. You don't want that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Luckily,
you could
they're
have this
they're a
one. He's
handful
got
of-
no brain.
Yeah, there are plenty of tabbies out there that have no brain.
He just has belly, apparently.
Actually, my tabby who has that marking is weird because she loves having her belly rubbed. Loves it. Will like roll over and beg for it. But
I've
anyway.
had 3 cats that do that. Well, Shadow will do it too occasionally. I think Shadow is just interested in setting a trap for his human. But, what do I know?
Aren't they all?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, what do you think, chat? What are your thoughts? Or in
plot
Psycho Kitties or
complications?
plot complications? Or complications of Terry petting, harassing, beating cats, whatever it is he's doing over there. I'm not really sure we can trust Carrie with cats. He's got far too many, and I just think he's lost track of them all.
I'm collecting them all.
We've noticed. There's a movie called The Collector where he gets humans and everything else and stores them away. You've done the same thing with cats. You evil man, you. Whoa. What the hell was that?
That was Leo on his way to the windowsill.
Well, that was really helpful. A cat is always a plot complication. A cat can be the tomato.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta love the cat being the tomato. I'm still interested to see if Terry goes full tilt boogie with this cat, this augmented cat.
And what do you mean full tilt boogie?
If you actually go full tilt and make it a real character that's flying through the book every now and then.
Yes, I'm going to.
I want
With
to
the
see it.
duelist?
With the what?
With the duelist?
Yes.
The duelist cat?
Well, he's not the duelist's cat. He's
Is
not
he-
even really the prince's cat.
He's just a cat.
Well, during the evacuation, the prince is going to be stuffed into a cold sleep chamber. He's not going to really have any say in the matter. It's his father's decision. And the doctor that's getting him sealed in there, as they're getting ready to close the door, the scientist that has been working on whatever, the cat among them, is basically going to shove the cat in there and say, hold this, and then close the door. So he has no idea that this is anything other than a cat. There's no clue. Nothing.
What an asshole
one
move
knows.
to do. You light the stick of dynamite, you head into the guy who's going into stasis, you shut the door, they're staring at it as everything freezes, wondering whether or not it's going to come back to life as soon as they get out of suspended animation. That would be fucking hilarious.
That's how it's going to happen. I've already got that in mind.
Well, it kind of, I mean, if you're a scientist and you've worked to create and nurture this really, really cool creation that it may be, one in ever, wouldn't the best place to preserve it would be with the air and that pod, because of course they're going to take very good care of it. Of course they're going to make sure the conditions are set for the human to survive. So hopefully the augmented feline would survive as well.
Exactly my thinking, and that's what the scientist is thinking. And one of the things that's not going to come, that they're not going to realize until much later on in this, is that the changes that have been made to this cat, they are genetic. They will pass to the offspring.
Time for Kitty to get its boogie on.
So it's gonna create a new species of cat, and there's no telling how many litters are going to happen before somebody realizes what's going on.
So kittens instead of tribbles. You're just going to have kittens like flying around. They become ultra fertile, and the kittens grow into full-size cats within 3 weeks.
No, they're going to
No?
grow like regular cats.
Dude, you're destroying all the good stuff.
That's not
Because you
good
could have the
stuff.
total tribble thing, man.
No, I totally do not want to have the tribble thing.
But it'd be cute. Just
It
think if
wouldn't
it
fit
was
with the-
ever
it
if it
wouldn't
was
fit
ever
with the
made into a
story.
TV series, man, it would just be stuff with kittens.
Off to you. One of the things that I have to do with this, one of the things that Cheney likes to do is he likes writing prequel short stories to introduce the characters in these series. So if this project is greenlit, I'm going to write a short story showing how the duelist became who he is. And I'm going to write a second short story showing how the air got stuffed into the sleep pod and setting up that entire thing. So the particular scene with the scientist shoving the cat into the pod is already well firmly in my mind. And it's going to be hilarious. Because the short story is not going to reveal anything about what makes that cat special. The scientist is just going to be like, you've got to take care of this. It's critically important.
I can't believe...
Take care of Fluffy.
Fluffy is the most important animal in the history. Here, take Fluffy.
He'll try to explain something, but somebody else is going to slam the cold sleep chamber door before he can explain anything.
There's an episode of Futurama where they go to the place where all the people who froze themselves are getting thawed out. And Bender decides he's had enough of whatever he's doing. So he goes and grabs an ape mask, puts it over and says, all right, open him up. And the guy comes out and he goes, ah! And they go, ah! And then he slams him back in for another 1,000 years. They're frozen in that position. It's pretty funny. It's evil. Antoine, you got a half-track mind. Just telling you. It's called a flurkin.
I have one of those.
What's a flurkin?
The thing that scratched out Nick Fury's eye.
What's
It
a
looks
flurkin?
like a cat, but it's not a cat.
It's a cat that has essentially it's a fluffy orange cat, but when it yawns, like sharp, spiky tentacles reach out from its mouth and grab and eat things, like Skrulls.
Okay. Interesting. No, I haven't seen Captain Marvel. Is it like a plumbus? A flurkin. I have no idea.
Half of me is tempted to write those 2 short stories before I go to Vegas.
Why not?
I'm still far away. I think I need to pitch the idea before I write the stories.
Not necessarily. If nothing else, you have anthology fodder.
Yeah, if the idea is there.
I don't want to start this project too soon. I've got 4 more novels in this series to write. It's been a pain in the ass for me to not want to go write this other one now because impulse control is not my strong suit.
Yeah, I've heard that about men your age.
Oh.
Just saying. An eldritch horror cat.
That's a pretty good description.
I loved Annette Bening as an evil AI.
In the Captain Marvel movie.
Oh, okay. See, I haven't seen this, so I'm completely blissfully unaware of all of this.
It is... The movie itself has some wonderful late 80s, early 90s nostalgia. And then if you want the follow-up to that, the Miss Marvel series, I enjoyed the hell out of it, but given the friends I grew up with and the fact that my mother's from Jersey, I got all of the jokes. But it was great. And the actress who plays Kamala Khan she's phenomenal, and she's a total Marvel fangirl. So she knows, like, soup to nuts everything about all the characters, more so than most of the actors who are in, all of those movies. And yeah.
I don't understand with you people. We got 5 minutes left, folks. This is your 5-minute warning. Before we get to
5-minute
After
warning
Dark.
right now is Terry's hand being used as a cat toy. It is being nommed.
Terry, why? Why are you playing Pouncy with the cat while we're live? Ow, that looks like it might hurt. Break out the Flurkin. We're not breaking out a Flurkin. We got this thing instead.
I can't. I can't. She's in the other room and is probably asleep.
I don't have a Flurkin. I have a shadow. Brett says, suddenly we got cats, Miss Marvel, and porn narrated by Howard Cosell. I think we covered it all.
You know.
You know, I need to have you write up the synopsis for the episodes. You know, you can just upload that to YouTube. Here's the synopsis of today's episode.
No, actually, for the synopsis of the episode, we need to have that guy from Ant-Man that tells the long, meandering stories.
Michael Pena. Yes, he's a great actor. I mean, not just his character from the Marvelverse, but he's an excellent actor.
V, you're working on your space western, correct?
I'm writing. So for myself, I'm writing space western. I am co-writing a paranormal action, I guess. Sort of, I think the best thing is like supernatural-ish sort of stuff. And then Secret World Chronicle crew is writing a really bizarre thing that involves the 1990s Toronto coffee shops, hockey, and gins trapped in sex toys. I win.
I got nothing to follow that. I'm working on monsters.
Just think of how you have to rub it to go ahead and have the gin come out.
We know. It's. I have some most interesting Thursday night writing sessions.
Antoine, really? We just had to go there. So, oh God, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to let that go. That's
not a good plot complication.
No, I'm gonna go. I'm still working on Extinction, JR. That's what I'm doing. Trying to get it finished. It's taking longer than I thought, for reasons. But get back into it. I just had to get an Ancient Trap more or less put to bed because I want to be ready to send it off to get its layout and all that crap as soon as the as soon as the rest of the production team has time for what I need done. So it's a plot complication. No time for butt stuff.
Oh, okay. I feel bad, but the butt stuff reminded me of something.
Don't feel bad. It's just a new plot complication that rose up with 2 minutes to go.
So, Audiophile is it's the publication for reviewing audiobooks. Audiobook Publishers Association, Audiophile. They do all of this, and the reason I brought it up was because Chuck Tingle's new book is actually on the cover of this month's Audiophile.
Oh no.
Oh yes, I think it's a horror piece.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna find this, but because I get
drop it in the live chat.
As a subscriber, I get the print to my house. Camp Damascus, that's what it's called. But Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle is on it's the cover of this month's audio file, and it's on the front page of the website. I'm going to paste the URL into the live channel on Discord. But and truly, it's a great place to look for, audiobook reviews. Most of the stuff coming through there is from larger publishers. So, but again, people love to make fun of Chuck Tingle and all of the various titles he's done. But clearly he's doing something right, because front page of the premier audiobook magazine.
I totally thought you were going to say people love butt stuff.
There are some people who definitely love some butt stuff. And with that, if you have a comment or a question about this show, please don't make it about fun stuff. You can send an email to show@debrobotssociety.com. You can find me on Mastodon at Paul_E_Cooley at VYRSE.social. You can find us on Facebook at Listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group, where Terry mangles all the madness. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast, where we stream every Saturday at 3 p.m. CST. Like and subscribe, and you'll never miss an episode. And if you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to exclusive live content, which is DRS After Dark, which is coming up in just 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes. Something like that. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Tony L. Joy, Lisa Slack, Isabel Cushy, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. I think I said everything I needed to say.
Are you sure?
No, but when am I ever? With that, we should probably get out of here because we got this other live show we're doing.
See, how did Howard Cosell always sign off? What was this thing?
This is Howard Cosell.
And that's the way it was. That's not Howard Cosell.
No, that's Paul Harvey.
Paul Harvey.
That's Paul Harvey. Totally different thing.